breaking news.
He's a racist. For my whole life, he was speaking against black people. Even when my mom gave to the ministry, he said, I can't believe she gave that money to a black minister.
You've just seen and heard Katie Frazier, who's referring to her dad, Rick Frazier. Why, you ask, would Katie refer to her own dad as being racist? Katie is not an angry teenager who's mad at her dad. Rather, she has decided to take a courageous stance against racism. Katie strongly believes he's behind the malicious, untrue attacks being waged against God's apostle, David E. Taylor, because he's African American. Attacks Katie believes are resulting from her mother, Deborah, giving a large contribution to David E. Taylor's ministry. I don't know why she gave that money to a black man's ministry, Katie said she heard her dad say. As an outsider, David E. Taylor was summoned to testify in the Frazier's divorce hearing about the contribution. Rick said he wanted his ex-wife's money back and threatened David E. Taylor directly, telling him if he didn't comply, he would make videos to destroy him through social media to ruin his reputation. Since then, Apostle David E. Taylor has been publicly attacked by what's commonly known today as internet trolls, people who use the internet to get false information about others. They have gone to great lengths, even posting fake videos, blogs, and other information. Why, do you ask? Because the man of God innocently accepted a contribution to the ministry during the time of the Frazier's divorce hearings. This is shocking. Injustice in America is still a reality, but through it all, David E. Taylor has shown a heart of love for Deborah, Katie, and even Rick. In her reverence for God and his work through Apostle David E. Taylor, Katie publicly apologized to Apostle for the attacks and wrote him a letter of apology.
I just wanted to apologize to the social media world, and it's truly just because she followed what God wanted her to do and gave to this work. And it's my own father who's spreading these lies, who's getting these videos chopped up, the deposition videos that came from the divorce case. It breaks my heart. I hope that no one believes these lies. I want you to know that I stand with Apostle. My whole family stands with Apostle, and it's just, I've been so blessed by this ministry personally, and I was healed out of my wheelchair. And I came here and I saw a ministry that uses people's finances and turns them into something so wonderful that's reaching people all over the world.
It's unbelievable that even today one can accomplish what he or she sets out to do so easily using social media. This is what they don't want you to know. That footage from the Frazier's divorce hearing was manipulated. Particular questions were sliced and edited together in videos to make it look like David E. Taylor was mishandling ministry funds. These videos were sent throughout America to several media outlets, churches, and pastors, including one in Seattle, Washington, who herself was threatened. Pastor Helen Salder received an email from Rick Frazier saying if she hosted David E. Taylor at her church, she would be turned into the FBI because David E. Taylor is being investigated and that a news team would be sent to her church. Strangely, after she received this email, her church window was not only broken, but her church was vandalized, spray painted with KKK, swastikas, and other racial markings. Her church email system was even hacked. Every member in her church received the very same email she did from Rick Frazier. The Bible says, none calleth for justice. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity. This is the false information they gave you. They lied about the federal investigation. They want you to believe David E. Taylor was being investigated and interrogated by authorities from the federal government. He was not. It was all a hoax. David E. Taylor was asked carefully crafted questions by attorneys in Rick and Deborah's divorce hearings, but instead the videos were constructed to make you think it was an investigation. David E. Taylor has never been investigated by the federal government. They lied about the homes. They want you to think David E. Taylor used ministry funds to purchase 2 luxury homes shown here. David E. Taylor does not own any homes. He still leases the same apartment he has been for over 7 years. They lied about the income. They made it seem like David E. Taylor receives a huge income from his ministry. David E. Taylor's ministry is a multi-million-dollar ministry, but he chooses to receive less than $35,000 of taxable income from his ministry per year. David E. Taylor's board of directors have recommended time and time again that he receive a more significant personal income, but he refuses, sacrificing all he can for the ministry, even all royalties from his national best-selling book, Face-to-Face Appearances from Jesus, The Ultimate Intimacy, to fulfill the vision God gave him. They lied about the Mercedes. They made it appear as if David E. Taylor purchased an expensive car using his ministry funds. He did not. A businessman honored David E. Taylor for his 25 years of ministry. David Taylor then took the car that was given to him personally and gave it into the ministry. In turn, his board of directors decided to turn the car into a stretch limousine to transport visiting church leaders and guests. They lied about the clothes. They want you to believe David E. Taylor misuses ministry finances to buy expensive clothes for personal use, but he does not. David E. Taylor travels extensively around the world holding miracle crusades and conferences. For this purpose, he wears quality clothes to support yearly travels and his television ministry. His expenditures are approved by his board of directors. They lied about David E. Taylor, not knowing his board members. They tried to make David E. Taylor look incompetent by ambushing him. When David E. Taylor was testifying in the Frazier divorce hearing, his board of directors were going through a transitional period, electing new members. Therefore, he answered with integrity and followed the advice of his attorneys by saying he did not know. They lied about the taxes. They tried to paint a picture that David E. Taylor is operating his ministry illegally. Out of his love and concern, David Taylor took in a struggling family into his apartment. David Taylor's tax returns were filed reflecting the legal name of his dependents. In his apartment, the parents of the dependents always referred to their children by nicknames. Therefore, David E. Taylor did not know their full names. We can't conquer hate with hate. We can only conquer hate with love. For more information, visit reportingthewholetruth.com.
I don't know how to hold no hate in my heart against anybody. And this man who's doing this, I still love him no matter what he's doing. I want him to know I forgive him. I just want to hug Katie and Deborah just for closure. I love you guys. Come on, give God the glory.
Celebrating 25 years of ministry, Apostle David E. Taylor has made an indelible imprint throughout the United States and around the world, becoming a strong and positive influence as a spiritual father and leader. This incredible man of God was once a professed thug, a gangster, enjoying the thug life in urban America and all that it entailed, until one day, David E. Taylor's life was changed forever from a face-to-face intimate visit with Jesus.
I was 17 years old when I was the leader of a gang, and at the age of 17 years old, Jesus appeared to me in a dream in my sleep. He was in this most beautiful white robe, this gorgeous white robe, and he had such a humble demeanor. He was a humble man, and that's what I really remember. Not only what he was wearing, but his eyes, the love in his eyes, and the humility that he exuded. My life from that day was changed. All I knew is that something changed in my heart after I saw him, and after he spoke to me. I had never had an experience like I felt currents of power and electricity going through me. You know, from that glory that was coming off of him, his presence, and I was changed. I knew something had happened to him. And he stood there with a smile on his face, but his eyes full of light and love, you know, and he said, "Follow me." I knew he wanted me to give my life to him. I said, "Lord, I want others to experience what I experienced with you. If you go to them in dreams," I started to pray. I said, "It's my desire that you give me the ministry where you work with me personally on earth, and you go to them just like you came to me. A ministry that introduces you to them face to face." And that's what happened. It started. It was wonderful. And he said these words to me. He says, "Every person who reads this book, I will appear to them." He says, "and this message will go greater." You know, I got to have the real thing. And so, and the miracle ministry was formed at that point where people were healed out of wheelchairs.
I just got up and walked.
You were in this wheelchair.
Yes, he told me to walk. That's the farthest I ever walked.
Doctor says he cannot walk on his heels. He broke them.
And what happened tonight?
He's walking.
Look at this.
God, I will obey from this point on to anything you say. Anything you say.
Things like that, but there was like a process where he taught me about miracles and healing, how he did that, and what I needed to do. Fasting was one of them, a lot of prayer, that I had to live a different life, a consecrated life than normal preachers or normal people in order for him to channel his power through me like that.
She's had a tumor in the back of her head for a while, and she said, "Mommy, it's gone." I was like, "Baby, what?" She said, "Mommy, it's gone. It's not there no more." Jesus, thank you so much. I don't know what just happened to me, but it felt so good.
Out of his face-to-face relationship with Jesus, his healing ministry was birthed. David E. Taylor was humbled and honored, Jesus choosing him to appear before, saving him from a life in the streets. Today, David E. Taylor works with a multicultural staff he loves, spreading the gospel of Jesus around the world. As a result of his ministry and relationship with Jesus, thousands of people are meeting Jesus face-to-face. They are turning their lives around, and because of God working with and through David E. Taylor, are becoming responsible sons and daughters of God, positively impacting their communities. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice us everywhere. While most of us would be furious and would want to seek revenge against someone attacking us so viciously, Apostle David E. Taylor holds no malice in his heart. Despite the fact that there's still a huge divide among races in America, David E. Taylor, like Martin Luther King Jr., believes and teaches the only way we can overcome hatred is through love. David E. Taylor's heart is to propel God's vision of love in unifying America. He urges all of us to pray about the issue of racism, to love each other, even our enemies, that one day, because of our prayers and actions, love will prevail.
There's a level of your closeness to the Lord that is based on how you deal with people. I'm showing you certain blockages that keeps the Lord from being as close as he want to be to you. Then your love walk with people has to increase in order for your walk with God to increase. That's why you have to deal with areas like this, because it purifies you in your heart toward mankind, not just certain people, everybody.
The enemy sent this attack to try to hinder the momentum of God's ministry and movement face to face. If you believe in this cause for God's kingdom, please help by sharing this video and stand up with Apostle David E. Taylor as he carries out God's vision of love through the world. Call 1-877-THE-GLORY. That's 1-877-843-4567.